What's up guys, I'm Derek here, and look, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but it's happening. Day 1 of Worlds has just finished. If you guys don't want spoilers for the scores, then I don't know why you're really watching this video. Skip past the intro for just the game. And the #1 points holder after Day 1 is Setsuko. He absolutely smurfed it Day 1, had incredible performances in almost every game, played exactly as he does in North America, the Setsuko style. This game that we're going to VOD review from Day 1 is absolutely his most entertaining game from Day 1. It was a fast 9. He literally said, I'm going to go fast 9. I'm going to pretend like it's in North America. And my god, it delivered. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of Worlds. I am going to be live tomorrow and Sunday with Worlds, co-streaming it. So if you guys didn't get to catch the main broadcast today, but are interested in catching my co-stream, then go to my Twitch channel. You can watch on YouTube as well. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. All right, let's get into it. This is game 3 for people who care. If you've seen other games and you want to watch, just this review and then watch the other games on your own, all good. Probably going to put out this review and maybe some other reviews. But yeah, as I said in the intro, Setsuko had an amazing day, and this game was a huge, huge part of it. Starts a giant spell, gets dropped an early ribbon and a remus. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to highlight actually, but I didn't want to take up too much time in the intro, is actually NA as a whole has done very, very well at this tourney. Admin here, he gets the opportunity to take every 5 seconds your team gains 20 mana, which is one of the most broken admins in the game. There's also the every 5 seconds your team heals 150 HP, which you could honestly argue might be stronger. This is really, really strong, but this plays really well for win streak. I think maybe I would have even taken this here, but he ends up taking the mana one just because it has such an insanely high cap. If he randomly gets dropped like a Sona or LeBlanc or something, you can absolutely play around that. But yeah, Replay also had an amazing day. Wage Iverson also had a very strong day. The only person who didn't have an amazing day was Jukyu, which surprising because Jukyu did so well in the last tourney. But yeah, we're looking at first augment here. First aid and metabolic really aren't too much, so I think Portable Forge makes the most sense for sure. He sees that he has Ash 2 here, and he thinks for a little while on this. Do I want to take a Randomins? Do I want to take a Manazane? But Setsuko is Setsuko. He wants to play for win streak. He wants to play aggressively. So you already know what he is taking here. He is going to take Gold Collector and slap it onto this Ash 2. I mean, knowing that you have Ash 2 is a huge, huge factor in this decision because it allows you to have actually a good unit to hold this Gold Collector. If you don't have Ash 2 or Kale 2 here, then it's not so great. He ends up selling the admin here so that he can level for the Vi, and then he's also going to add the Yasuo. Thanks about getting the Blitzcrank in, but he's actually got a tanky enough board. And then item slam wise, Sunfire makes the most sense. He wants to play for streak, wants to have an item that's going to do enough damage so that he can use Ash to farm with this Gold Collector. So yeah, he ends up farming 2 gold here, which, I mean, pretty good from the Gold Collector, but we are off to the races. This is a Setsuko style game if I have ever seen it. He even hits the Renekton here to get Laser Core in, and we'll see. We will see how far we can take this early game. Of course, this is a Worlds lobby, so we can highlight some of the other insane players. Honglian from China. You see Canbiz, the player who won, I believe, EMEA regional finals, so very strong player. Liluo, previous World Championship winner, so obviously no slouches in this lobby whatsoever, and some of the best players in the world, of course, because we're at the World Championship. So yeah, end up being able to pick up a Vi pair here, and he, like a beast, just goes fast level 5. Adding another Yasuo is really nice here because he gets another laser core drone. So getting extra laser core units in, even if you don't have like the next level of laser core, can be really nice just to add another drone to your board. And Setsuko, you know what, he is going to play for absolute win streak, go fast, like quickly push levels, which is going to allow him the potential to like high roll 4 costs. So yeah, we get early egg here, which is also really, really fortunate for Setsuko here. I did watch this game, but I'm trying to recall what he picked here. I feel like you can make a Vi item here if you want. You can make an Ionic Spark if you want. I believe he does actually take this and end up slamming Spark, which makes a lot of sense, right? You want to play for win streak as much as possible, so you want to slam something here. It probably should go on the Vi, especially because you have Vi pair. And the other thing to consider is that you're playing Laser Core Opener. You're going to be doing a lot of magic damage with Laser Core, so it feels really good. You also already have the Armor Shred from Vi, so getting him Armor Shred kind of gives you both there. So that's nice. He even sees this Viego in shop, but he does not get tempted at all. The question, if you picked up this Viego, is what would you play Viego over here? And I don't think there's actually a great answer. You could play it over the second Yasuo, but I'm not actually that sure if it's stronger, and the other problem with that is that it's going to make it really, really hard for you to make gold. Now, Setsuko does something amazing here. He looks at his matchups and says, I need to roll here to spike my board. I am not going to win this round, potentially, if I don't roll here. So he rolls, finds Poppy 2, finds Morgana, and then slams both items on the Poppy. He was actually bemoaning this decision because the problem with slamming items on Poppy here is Poppy is getting targeted very quickly, so your Sunfire dying this early onto the fight feels really bad, but still, like a beast, he ends up winning this fight, sells the Vi and the Kale, and now he's making 20 gold, win streaking, and ends up getting a 3-cost duplicator out of this egg, which is really nice as well. That, like I was talking about, that early egg is really nice for Setsuko because it's going to allow him to continue to spike his board. If it was a long, many turn egg, then he'd have to wait a while to actually use it. But yeah, he ends up actually, getting the egg early on, slam sword here, and now he has 2 3-cost duplicators, and he also got a 5-cost duplicator. He naturals 2 pairs, levels up for the Blitzcrank here, and I think he considers for a little bit if he wants to double duplicator this Morgana. I'm a big fan of double duplicating Morgana. I think just having a Morgana 2 on your board is really, really nice. I believe he ends up... Oh yeah, here's one of the first mistakes in the game. He ends up using Duplicator on his Renekton to make Renekton 2, but he uses it the last second, so doesn't actually make Renekton 2. I think I played a great game of TFT this game, but it was by no means perfect, which is another reason why I want to watch this game, because it's just so entertaining to watch the best player in North America and a player that's smurfed on this tourney mauled when he makes bad decisions. Exels was basically the only choice there. It's very, very strong to win streak, one of the best augments in the game. So, I mean, yeah, there's basically nothing else to be said. Like, you definitely take Exiles there, and it's all good. But yeah, he's win streaking here. He is 3-2 full streak, and he has over 50 gold. And so he makes the decision here to just level up. Makes a ton of sense. Only costs you 3 gold, right? You're still making 20. And if you keep your streak, that's already worth 4 gold, right? You're 3 gold for keeping your streak, and then a 4th gold for winning the fight. So, if leveling is the difference between winning and losing this fight, it's already paid for itself. Probably wasn't, but I think it is a very, very good choice as far as making sure that you're going to win this round. He also talked about potentially getting the LeBlanc in here, thinking, okay, maybe there should have been LeBlanc over Poppy in this round to activate the admin, which I think does make a lot of sense, especially now that you have this Garen. I think he ends up opting for LeBlanc here. If not, maybe the round after this. Yeah, he's still going to play Poppy for a little while, but eventually he does want to get this LeBlanc in just because giving extra mana to all of your units feels really, 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 really good. It's such a strong admin. I was a proponent of it early on to the set, not to brag or anything, but I remember spamming Sona carry with this admin, and I thought it was so strong, and many people are playing it now. So yeah, we have a full win streak going into 3-4 carousel. We have a sword open, and that's it. So ideally, we would like something that we could slam off of this sword. Deathblade seems like a reasonable option. We want to play some kind of AD comp. This Chain Vest seems like a reasonable option if we want to play some kind of like Warwick board, or we could just hold it. So, like Edge of Night would be solid, but, then you have to... The problem with that is then, you have Collector Warwick, which feels kind of bad. But yeah, this round he finally ends up getting in the LeBlanc, which I do think is very strong, especially with... Oh no, he ends up taking it back out here. Setsuko always toggling what units he has in, always trying to figure out what's strongest board here, and he makes the decision that he wants Morgana and Samira in. Oh yeah, and the Samira hit here is so good. I think it is at this moment, actually, that he says, fuck it, I can go fast 9. He is full streak here, and naturally the Samira is really, really nice because it spikes his board very, very hard. So, he hasn't had to roll it all, but he has a 4-cost on his board that he's actually not going to move the Collector over to, because Collector on Samira is kind of a grief. She is already executing units because of the way that Ace works, so you don't really need to put Collector on Samira, so we just keep it on the Ash. You also notice there he thinks about slamming Edge of Night, but he notices that his opponent's board is super, super weak. They have Last Stand, which is doing literally nothing right now, so he says, okay, I don't need to slam items. So really, really good awareness of Setsuko there. I always talk about this. If you want to play perfect TFT, wait to slam your items until after combat starts, unless it's something like a Zephyr or a Locket or something. Because you can judge the fight and say, okay, we're going to win this fight anyway, so why would I ever slam this item, basically? Like I said, fast 8. He can level for LeBlanc here, and he is still chilling. He has to slam an Archangels here to get rid of this Rod and this Bow. The question is he going to slam IE, and is he going to slam Bramble Vest? I think they're both pretty straightforward. He thinks about not slamming Bramble here, but his opponent has Jeweled Lotus, and I believe he said there was another Jeweled Lotus player in the lobby, so I mean, I feel like it's very, very straightforward. And then we can still make 40 here by selling our bench. How insane is that? We're 40 gold level 8. And so, yeah, around here is when you can see, like, okay, Setsuko can go fast 9 very easily this game. Augment choice here, and there is a 5 cost in the pool. Once again, talking about Setsuko and Setsuko playing Setsuko style. You can think about, like a random style and flair here. It's not great because you only have one Samira and you'd have to move the items over to her. Accelerated Mentorship is pretty bad because we're already 8. But he does get offered Obliterate here, which is a big spike for the board. Would get you 4 Laser Core in, would get you a Mordekaiser in. You already have this MR Shred and you already have the Morgana, but just getting a Mordekaiser here is a big spike. And also, making sure that Shred exists for the entire round is really, really big. So I think Obliterate is a very, very strong choice here. But and Setsuko talks about this and says Obliterate's very strong, but he says, fuck it, for fun, I'm going to roll for Shiny. Rolls twice, hits 2 Fiddlesticks Augments, rolls one more time, and it's Temporal Disruption. This was a for fun play. At the end of the day, it has to be labeled as a for fun play. He ends up actually getting bailed out because Temporal Disruption is actually quite strong here. But he says something like, "We lost the game." Like, oh, I'm trolling. Oh, I'm literally trolling in tournament, which to a degree he definitely is. But upside with Temporal Disruption, you're already going 9. This is going to allow you to play around this Ezreal, this 5-cost Ezreal carry. You already have an IE that you can slap on the Ezreal. The Collector is also very strong-hunted. So it's really not bad. It does make Ezreal spell Burn, which doesn't really do anything with the Sunfire. Like, you already have Burn, so we don't need Burn on top of that. It doesn't, like, stack. It just takes whichever the bigger burn is. Ends up getting an Urgot here, and now decides to move the items because he even said, like, last round, I should have moved items off of Ashe. Like, obviously, Ezreal, especially with this carry augment, is going to be a better carry than the Ashe, so makes a ton of sense. But yeah, like, this Ezreal is actually, has a very good chance of being a strong carry this game, especially if he can go 9. He has the 5-cost duplicator, so all he has to do is find one more Ezreal, and then boom, he's playing around a 5-cost Ezreal 2-star. Maybe we can get an Infiniteam later. Maybe you could even think about getting Parallel in. So I think it's actually perfectly fine, but it was a little bit of a grief. Item-wise here, I don't recall what he took here. From my perspective, I'm looking for a damage item, like Sword here, I think. I don't end up getting either of them, so we just opt to take the 5-cost Chain Vest, which I think is fine. Worst case, that could be something like an Edge of Night or like Titans Ezreal, but I don't want to make Titans Ezreal, let's be real. So I guess like worst case could be an Ezreal item. But yeah, we have made the choice here. We're 78 HP. We're probably going to lose these next 2 rounds, but that means that we can go 9 at 5-1 with quite a strong board, a lot of gold. Well, really not that strong of a board, but the main thing is a lot of gold. And then hopefully we start hitting some of our 5-cost units, and we'll do very well. So yeah, I mean, just the classic Setsuko game. I always talk about how players like Setsuko, in ladder and especially like early on into a set, they farm like worse players by just going fast 9 every single game. But Setsuko, the beast that he is doing this on the world stage, is actually saying fuck it fast 9 on the world stage. You think like in a lot of these world caliber lobbies, you can't do this kind of thing. But if you're as much of a beast as Setsuko is, constantly playing the strongest units, and then also hitting a decently strong opener, but really, really nothing too high roll. Like, what did he hit? Ashe 2? You can go fast 9 if you play it well enough. So, I mean, hats off to Setsuko for this start of the game, and it only gets crazier from here. I talk as if like we're near the end of the game, but it gets crazier and crazier after this. So yeah, he levels here and actually starts rolling a bit, which I think is really, really smart. Ends up getting Parallel in, and he didn't, or not Parallel, but Infiniteam in, and realizes that it's a backline portal in the corner, so we can just keep Ezreal there and keep getting value out of that. He cracks his item and realizes, oh, okay, the only offensive item I can build here is Edge of Night. And now he rolls down, and look at these rolls. What a beast. Look, I'm not saying that TFT is all skill. Like, these were definitely some fortunate rolls. Hits Ezreal 2, has Mordekaiser pair, has Urgot pair, ends up making Edge of Night here on Ezreal, and he talks about this later, and I would say that this is a mistake. You can just slap Edge of Night on Mordekaiser and play for full cap. You're 51 HP, and you're really not going to take, like, bad losses. Like, he loses this round, but, I mean, he's sitting on a 5-cost duplicator and, like, an insane number of really, really strong pairs. So I don't think you actually have to play for, like, strongest board here. You can play for highest cap, because that allows you to, like, actually win the game. Ends up hitting Urgot 2 here, uses 3-cost duplicator on Morgana, and now all he's really waiting on is the Mordekaiser 2 and the Fiddlesticks 2. He's also holding onto this Leona 2 on bench, thinking maybe there's a way he can get Mech in, which, makes some degree of sense. You can fit in like a Wukong for defender, get Leona in, maybe later you can get like an Echo in to get Aegis if the lobby's really AP heavy. So hold on to this Leona pair. It's also just a really good unit, right? 2-star Leona is not bad at all, but you see like how hard he's capping out the board, and he's looking at the rest of the boards in this lobby and saying, wait a minute, nobody's boards are that strong, especially after he hits this Mordekaiser here. Like the lobby is not that strong when you look at it. So he makes the Mordekaiser 2. Now he gets to use the duplicator because he's hit everything. What he wanted to do is exactly what happened. Roll down, hit all of his 2 stars, and then use the duplicator on the last one that he did not hit to guarantee that he has it. And so now his board has, what is this, 4 2-star 5 costs on it, right? The Ez, Mord, Fiddle, and Urgot, and could potentially fit the Leona onto it later. So his board is absolutely very, very strong, and not even completely capped because he can still play around stuff like Syndra and Echo. Here's where the game goes off the rails even more. He sees it. He sees it on Carousel. You know he sees it. It's a mecha spat. He has a duplicated Garen on bench, so he can potentially sell this Garen and then make a mecha Mordekaiser if he wants to. Cracks this open. Doesn't really see too much. Ends up getting Zephyr here, which is a strong item. I feel like I'd love to have I would love to have items on my 2-star 5 cost, but I mean Zephyr's of course very strong. But here's another place where the game just, oh my god. Let's turn on his audio just a little bit. I don't want to get demonetized because I think he plays copyrighted music, but let's just, oh wait, no, this isn't actually his audio, so I can't even see it. Rest in peace, rest in peace. But look, I mean, it's very straightforward. He mauled it a bit here, saying, "What am I doing? Do I have some kind of issue? Like, what is happening here?" He puts the Mecha Spat on the Ashe because, of course, you want to sack the Ashe instead of the Mordekaiser to make Mech Mordekaiser, but you need to mech the Mordekaiser with the Spat. His thought is that like if Mordekaiser was just a mech by default, then you could put the Mech Spat on the Ashe and sack the Ashe, but you need to Mech Spat the Mordekaiser because if you don't, he's not a mech. He doesn't even get punished, though. The beast that he is ends up winning that fight. So, yeah, I mean, I've talked about this before, but it just goes to show, like, the best players in TFT are making a lot of mistakes in a game. And not every game has this many of, like, insanely hilarious mistakes. But, there are a lot of even, like, small, very small mistakes that a lot of strong players are making. Like, I would even say, like, not double duplicating the Morgana. Maybe, looking back, maybe some people would say that that's not a mistake. I definitely feel like double duplicating the Morgana would have made him a lot stronger, a lot faster. But obviously, like duplicating the Renekton after the fight started. But yeah, like stuff like this, or even like item slams, like the Edge of Night slam. There's so many mistakes being made at the highest level, which I mean, I think is incredible, right? It means that everyone can play. There's so much that you can do to get better at TFT, I guess is the point I'm making. He takes Shojin here because now he really starts thinking about, okay, what is actually my max cap board? And he realizes what is, I mean, makes sense, is that max cap board is obviously going to be playing a Syndra late game. So he takes the Shojin for the Syndra. He doesn't want to play the Syndra yet because he wants to go for Syndra 2-star. I think eventually he ends up just throwing in the Syndra 1-star because, I mean, like Syndra is a very good unit, and like we already have the Ionic Spark. There's not too much to be gained from this Morgana. But yeah, just having a Syndra on this board to throw in the rest of your bench is going to continue to make the board very, very strong. So yeah, he ends up making the pivot here. Also has the possibility of like maybe hitting a Cinder 2 when he opens cells. But I mean, just look at this board. We are one off of Cinder 2. We have just the 2 synergy bots and Infiniteams in, and every other unit on our board is an absolute monster. This Fiddle 6-2 doing a ton of work. Like even this random Silas 3 with really, really solid items cannot beat this board. He even picks up the Mordekaiser here to potentially throw in another Mord. Maybe you can find another Mord 2 or something. Rolls down to 0 here and ends up finding Fiddle 6-2, so now we can throw this Fiddle 6 in. I like this on Urgot here a lot, just because I think Urgot 2's spell is going to be more influential than Cinder 1, but it's close. And then he fights Honglian here. Honglian, who is last stand OxDD comp with a Syndra, and he's quite afraid here. And like one should be. It's Honglian, a very strong player with a pretty strong board, but he absolutely stomps it. It's like the last stand didn't even do anything, and now he's going into his final combat potentially versus Demon. Gets a Syndra 2 with a Giant Slayer, so we can slap that on Mordekaiser to have a third item on his Giant Mech Mordekaiser. And once again, talking about for fun, Setsuko plays, literally playing like it's solo Q. He throws his Q cone not on a unit that's actually going to do anything, not on his like Syndra that's going to give her like a bigger shield and a little bit more damage. He throws it on the Urgot to potentially farm some extra some extra chests because he is full for fun playing and ends up losing this fight and actually starts panicking and he goes, wait a minute. Am I actually going to lose this game somehow? Like what happened there? He makes a really good call though that what's important in this matchup is Mordekaiser positioning. You need Mordekaiser to be hitting the enemy backline. You don't want Mordekaiser to be like this, where he's just going to ult up the right side like this. This is actually beautiful. He makes the call out that his opponent's not going to expect this Mordekaiser to full swap to left. Mordekaiser drops his ult there, one-shots the backline, and it's as easy as that. Setsuko wins the game, goes first, and absolutely smurfs on the entire lobby. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'll be co-streaming tomorrow's games. Hopefully we continue to see insane performance out of Setsuko, Replay, Wage and Iverson, even Jukyu maybe has a chance to come back. So NA men, there is a chance we can maybe do something in this world, maybe actually win. I have full faith in Setsuko. Hope you guys do too. All right, I will catch you all later. Bye.